So for March, we're going to talk about the history of the clearing's roads, starting, of course, at the campus entrance, which was part of the original drive into the property from way back. Certainly when it was a farm, maybe even further back from that during logging days. But the farmer would have, or somebody would have cut a road through, and it's a nice curving road, so Jensen would have approved, but all the way up to the original farmstead, which we'll see in a little while. But this is the oldest road on the property, this entrance road. From here up at least until the bottom of the homestead meadow, where it winds off, goes straight through the meadow now, or winds off toward the service drive and workshop forge area. But it would have at least gone up to the bottom of that meadow, this original, I call it the original farm road. And we assume that it's the original layout that Jensen would have inherited and widened a bit and enhanced over his time here. So we're at the bottom of the homestead meadow, where we call this the Y intersection. If you go straight, you go through the homestead meadow on up to the campus parking lot and further on to the exit road and the schoolhouse road. So this is at least as far as that original drive would have gone. I'm not sure if it went, we're not sure if it went further up this way or not. It may have, but the original farmstead is up a little ways, up by where the labyrinth is now. So this road, so up until after Jensen died, there actually, we'll see another road in a little while. We had two roads at the clearing. This original one that came at least this far again, and then when the schoolhouse was built in 1938, they cut another road in from Garrett Bay Road further north, right at the edge of at the north edge of the property, northeast edge of the property. They cut that road down to the schoolhouse, and you went to the schoolhouse that way and back out that same way. And if you were coming to what we now call the campus, you came this way on this original road and on up the service drive right here, up to the bottom of campus, and then back out the same way. And then after Jensen died, he died in 1951, and then the Farm Bureau assumed management in 1953, and sometime in the mid-50s, they decided to connect this original road and the schoolhouse road with this stretch that goes through the homestead meadow. And that made, at that time, they established this one-way road that goes through the entire property. It's the one road at the clearing that is one way. You shouldn't drive out that way. You drive out this way. And that can present some problems for people who do go out the wrong way, because it's a pretty narrow road, not wide enough for two cars to pass easily. So they both end up driving on the vegetation on the sides of the road, which has always been a problem here. But this again is as far as that original road would have gone, and maybe it went further. We just don't know for sure. So we're about halfway up what I've always called the service drive, again at the bottom of the meadow, where at the Y intersection. If you bear left, you come up this road that takes you now all the way up to the bottom of campus in that south cul-de-sac, campus cul-de-sac, past the garage and things. But we're now at the site, the old farmstead site, and it's mostly covered by snow now, but there are some old stone building foundations in here and some old stone walls. So this was where the farm buildings were that were already abandoned when Jensen bought the property in 1919. And they took the old cabin, the old log cabin that was here, and moved that, and that's now the west dorm, the large dorm, part of the west dorm. So it's possible that that original farm road came around, up to around this far. We just don't know. But this is where the site was. And now if you look through, imagine looking through here, through these trees, that's where the labyrinth is at the clearing right now. This short, we're just a little further up on that service drive now from where the homestead site is, heading toward campus. But this short road here, which you can see it goes down to the workshop and the forge is off to the right. This road was established in 1970 when 2 chalets were built down there by the Wisconsin Farm Bureau Federation. They did that against the wishes of Martha Fulkerson and the clearing community back in those days, but they did it anyway. One of the chalets was for the Farm Bureau executives and one was for Rural Insurance, a subsidiary of the Farm Bureau, and they wanted a place in Door County for their people to stay for a few days or for a week or two. And those were in operation. Even after the clearing took over from the Farm Bureau in 1988, they ran those as a side business of the clearing called the Clearing Chalets and rented those out until 2000. Anyway, so this short road was cut originally in 1970 to feed those 2 chalets, but now it feeds the workshop, forge, and there is a parking lot down there too. And we built the workshop in 2007 and the forge in 2016. So once Jensen came on the scene again, he bought the first part of the property in 1919, and then in 1920 they moved the old Pioneer cabin up to its current site, which is a large dorm. He would have extended the road from wherever it stopped, that original farm road, from wherever it stopped, whether it was the bottom of the Homestead Meadow or a little further up the service drive, all the way past to where I am now. And actually, the original drive, Jensen's drive, went right past the lodge up to a little wooden garage that was torn down, we think, in the 1940s. But they drove their cars right up past the lodge and parked on what we now call Central Campus, where all the benches and chairs are. We have some old pictures of the old Model Ts sitting up there. And then at that time, I'm not sure if they established this cul-de-sac or not. Probably not, probably didn't need it. But after they abandoned the drive from here up past the lodge, when that garage went away, it would have needed a place to turn around conveniently. So at some point, I'm not sure if Jensen did it or if the Farm Bureau did it, they established this cul-de-sac at the bottom of campus. So this is mostly Jensen, partly abandoned now for years, and then probably some Farm Bureau work here too. So in the mid-50s, when the Farm Bureau connected the campus drive and the schoolhouse drive with that stretch through the meadow and up here through the woods up to the north part of the property, they would have established this road into the parking lot and built the parking lot too. I'm not sure the parking lot was as big back in the 50s as it is now, and we've expanded it over the years with some pocket parking spaces between trees. So this, I think it was maybe 1955 or so when the Farm Bureau did this connecting road. So this would have been done at that same time in the mid-50s. At the top of that Farm Bureau road that runs again from the bottom of the Homestead Meadow to here is this intersection now. If you take a left here, you go down to what we now call the Schoolhouse Road. Used to be this whole stretch here was the Schoolhouse Road. Again, Jensen made this road in 1938 from Garrett Bay Road all the way down to the schoolhouse and then back out that same way. And when the Farm Bureau established this new road, we created this intersection where you take a left to go down to the schoolhouse, you take a right to exit the property. And that this section of the road going to the right, going to the east, is a classic Jensen Road. All kinds of curves. It's a beautiful slow drive through, and part of it is beautiful hemlock, a hemlock grove with big hemlock trees. It's really the nicest part of the drive system at the clearing, in my opinion. And then it ends up clearing the woods into the old hay meadow. We still call it the hay meadow, though they haven't made hay in there for probably 70 years or more. And then onto Garrett Bay Road. In 1997, when the Jensen Center was built, they established a system of roads and parking, and there were actually 3 different drives into or out of the property. Further down Garrett Bay Road was a drive that came, and that drive's now abandoned since 2017. You drove through the woods and into the old sunken parking lot. And when you left the parking lot, you drove out toward the east and northeast and out to what is still our main entrance. And then they also had a drive that came in north of the Orchard House. That was a service drive and the employee drive. And we drove through the woods behind the Jensen Center into the employee parking lot, which is still there, but that drive was abandoned in 2017 when we redid the whole system. Now we just have one entrance, which is also the exit from the road system here. So you can drive in from Garrett Bay Road right past the Jensen Center over into the parking lot and back out like the old way, more or less. But it's a two-way. You can do it either way. It's not a one-way system like it used to be. And then we connected this main circle drive, Jensen Center Circle Drive, with a side spur drive that goes on up to the employee parking lot. So that's a new road from 2017. And then so we abandoned the original drive into the parking lot out front, and the service drive up that starts up by Garrett Bay Road to the employee parking lot and then back out. Those got abandoned in 2017. And this seems to be working really well. And in the process of doing that, we got rid of a sunken parking lot, which I used to refer to as the clearing's fishing hole, because it would fill up with water. Sometimes over half of it, the south end, the lower end, would be full of water for weeks and weeks at a time, especially after melt season in late winter. So we decided that we had to fix that. And in the process of fixing that, we decided to fix the whole system here. So this is the newest series of roads and parking lots at the clearing, 2017.